Hi, this is R.A. Sweeney. I'm coming to talk to you about another one of the prayers from the book Prayers from the Time of Jesus. Right now, I'm going to be talking to you about the Yotzer Ham'orot. So, the Yotzer Ham'orot is the second prayer that we have in the book. It's this one right here. So, you can follow along in your book as we go. So the Yotzer Ham'orot is a prayer all about light. And so it's a prayer that would be prayed right at the beginning of the day as the sun was coming up. We've gone kind of back and forth on if it was the time that the sun should be coming up. So on a cloudy day, you would still pray it as the sun should be coming up, or if it was a prayer that you'd pray the first time you see the sun. For us, we've kind of just incorporated it into the morning as we get up and going. Kind of depends on exactly when we have this one, but it's a prayer for the morning to acknowledge the coming of the light. And so in Hebrew, the prayer would go something like, Baruch atah Yahweh Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvore choshek, oseh shalom uvore et hakol, Baruch atah Yahweh Yotzer Ham'orot. So that translates pretty much to the way I have it translated. So it's blessed you, Yahweh, our God, King of all creation, the giver of shape, or the one who gives shape of light, and purposer, or the one who gives purpose to darkness, creator of peace and purposer of everything. Blessed are you, Lord, shape giver of the lights. And so, like I said, we'd pray this one pretty much as soon as we see the light in the morning. So it's an acknowledgement of that morning light. I took a little bit more liberty here because there are 3 Hebrew words that all mean similar things that get used in this prayer and get used kind of similarly. So the 3 words are Yotzer, Voreh, and Oseh. So Yotzer means shape giver, probably about as close as I could translate that, or he who gives shape, but it means to mold or to fashion something. We see this in a few places in Scripture, like Isaiah 45, Jeremiah 18, Romans 9. There's the idea of the potter and the clay, and so the potter yatsars clay in order to make pottery. He's moving it, he's molding it, he's giving it that shape and that purpose. So it's that manual shaping, but also making it into something that has purpose. The second word is vore, which is purposer or he who purposes. It's actually the second Hebrew word in the Bible. So in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. That word created is vore, which actually means gives it purpose or gives it a function. So we tend to think that that passage in Genesis 1 is all about God taking absolutely nothing and making material creation from nothing. And that's really not what the language means. If you follow the Genesis 1 account, the Bible describes the cosmos as formless and void. I translate it as uninhabitable and uninhabited. It's a place that it's not capable of supporting life, and so it's not filled with life. And so then God spends the next 6 days assigning purpose and filling it with life. So it's not really the story of God creating something out of nothing. It's him taking that which has no purpose and no structure, no form, and giving it that purpose. The other thing that's really cool there is in Genesis 1, darkness is over the surface of the deep. Darkness is the bad guy in that story. It's the enemy of life that God battles against. But here in this prayer, it's darkness itself that God is giving purpose to. So even the darkness is something that God has that authority, that dominion, and gives purpose to. So then the third word that gets used here is oseh, which comes from the Hebrew word asah. This is a lot closer to what we typically think of with Genesis 1. This asah is what means more or less to physically make something. It can also mean to achieve something or to accomplish a goal that you're striving for. So it's to make or to accomplish. And I really liked the idea of accomplish in terms of what this seems to be communicating, because it's not like God made peace in the sense of like he grabbed some pieces and assembled peace. Peace was something he was striving for. It took the 6 days of creation, and finally on day 7 there was peace. So it was something that he was working towards and finally accomplished, and something that he's working in us to accomplish. And so I really liked the word accomplish there. So that's why I chose to go with that one. And even the word peace there is a little bit hamstrung from the meaning in Hebrew. So the word there is shalom, which does mean peace, but it's not just like quiet or something like that. It's the peace that comes when you have the things that you need, when you're secure, when you've got safety. Um, so it really carries all those ideas of wholeness and sufficiency and peace and security all together. And so I really liked that for accomplishes peace there, because it's that shalom, that integrity, sufficiency, fullness, peace that gets accomplished through God's complete work. Um, and so, like we talked about, at night, Hebrews believed that they were surrendering their soul to God to be refreshed for the day to come. But in their culture, sundown was the beginning of the day. So in the Near East, in the ancient Near East, they would go to bed every night with this idea of darkness descending upon the world. It was the opposite of order. And so it was really no pun intended, but it was a dark image. It was the image of the deity of light would be defeated, and he would be losing ground to darkness, and he would have to reestablish that order every morning. And so even though the Hebrew culture didn't necessarily believe that there was a deity of light and a deity of darkness that were battling back and forth, there was still that idea from Genesis 1 that darkness is not good, light is what is good, and darkness is coming upon us at night, and in the morning it's that reestablishing of the light. And so this prayer would be prayed in the morning to celebrate, like, God's the one who brings us this light. We're so thankful that God brought us this light. And so it's just a celebration of that. And then I coupled it with Isaiah 45. I already mentioned that's one of the places where that word Yatzar gets used in the scriptures that we're fairly familiar with. But as you read through it, you can tell it's very, very similar to the prayer. There's a lot of similar language there. And so the surrounding context of that passage shows that God is the one who creates. He's the one who gives shape to. He's the one who gives purpose. It's really the only difference is, instead of creating all things, he gives purpose to. Excuse me, there's a fly in my face. He gives purpose to what's called Ra in Hebrew. We translate it as calamity in a lot of places, but really it's just bad. Sometimes we even call it evil, but it's just bad. It's the opposite of what is good. So in Genesis 1, God spent 6 days creating good, and Ra is the opposite of that. So it's things that don't support life, things that don't let life thrive. And so even in Isaiah's passage, even that Ra, God gives purpose to. And so really this prayer, it's celebrating that coming of the light, but it's also just demonstrating God being at the heart of everything. As we start the waking hours of the day, it is an acknowledgement that God has brought us this day, he's brought us the light, and we are rejoicing in his work. So that is the Yotzer Ham'orot. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned and we'll bring some more. Thanks.